And the weird thing is, I don't see, there's so much of this stuff on the web these days, and this one's, not wearing underwear, blah, 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 but it's always like a weird situation.
That's not going to be me.
I'm glad to hear
guarantee.
But I mean, it's not like somebody actually took a camera and put it up their skirt to do it. I've never seen, I don't really see, I've never seen a shot like that of a celebrity where they went out of their way to try to take a shot up somebody's skirt. It seems like amazing to me.
They do.
Stunning.
How do you think they get those shots?
Well, I guess if somebody's getting in a car and you're taking 50 shots, with a speed dial, and you find one.
Well, if you think about it, they're also, I guess, in SUVs, which is different. That puts you at a different. I don't want to.
It's all a technical.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
I just don't need to think.
So the machinery of this movie was bigger, I think, than probably any movie you've been on. Yeah.
Yes, I would say.
I mean, it was a little Talladega was kind of big, but you weren't in the parts that were quite as. Ginormous.
I had a smaller part, and in Catch Me, I had a smaller part as well. So this is definitely the first time I've sort of been.
So was it like
on the
all
poster,
that
so
around you?
I haven't had time to think about it. I've been
really
just in
busy. Terms of working more.
I think
just in terms of like the working process of like to have all those people on the set every day and that kind of
They really left us alone.
Huh.
I have to be honest. They were there and they were present and they were supportive, but I think they really trusted us and they were excited. I didn't really feel like a big hand over us, sort of telling us what to do. And I'm sure it was there. I just was playing Giselle, so I was happily unawares,
The giant trailer thing was not measuring trailers and.
No, actually, we shot over at Steiner Studios. Do you know where those are? And they asked us if we wouldn't mind staying in the studios instead of having trailers. And I don't like trailers. Like I like them, they're fine, but I start to feel like, it's a cage. It's like we're crated. Like I like to be able to get out and walk around. And they so we stayed upstairs at the studios, and it actually we all formed a very familial relationship with one another because we were in it together. We didn't go and close the doors into our little trailers. Everyone's door was open, and we ate lunch together, and it was really great.
Sounds more like theater than like.
It was much more like theater. It reminded me of doing dinner theater.
Huh. So another piece of your history that. The dinner. Did you miss dinner theater now? Do you ever think like I want to go back and do dinner theater?
I have thought about it often. Especially when times are hard or things are confusing, or I just think I was so happy doing that, and I made the choice to move out to Los Angeles, so I can't blame it on the industry or blame it on anyone but myself. But I was really, really happy doing it, and I just knew that if I didn't try something else, if I didn't try to go to New York or try to go to Los Angeles, I would always wonder. So I did it more out of sort of, I just need to do this before I become settled in a way of life. And so I've been doing it ever since.
But the ball's a bit more in your court these days. You kind of have a little more in terms of options than you did before, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some wonderful options and things that have become available to me. But it also is a lot more responsibility as opposed to just taking the jobs that are offered to you. You now have to make choices, and that's, you gotta take a deep breath. It's a new way of thinking.
Yeah. So Giselle is a very specific choice as a character for you. Hippie is actually like the perfect explanation. Did you go in with that character? Did you develop it over time with the director, with Kevin Lima, or did you kind of work out?
I actually, when I read it, I immediately kind of felt a kinship with this girl. I felt like I knew who she was. And that's always, for me, something that I think about when approaching a role. Do I know her in myself? Can I relate? Can I be empathetic? Can I, and I knew her. So I went in and auditioned, and I think that coming from musical theater helped because I understand how to approach something in that earnest way that's necessary. But I didn't know. I didn't know if I was going to get cast. It was a long time before I auditioned and got cast. So I auditioned before Junebug had even opened. Yeah.
So did you already kind of have the character going into when you finally you finally got hired? Was it already there for you? Did you kind of just like fall right into it, or did you have to kind of figure out the steps of her?
Well, I had to figure out, I mean, that's always a delicate thing because you can end up with egg on your face, and I do at times, and you just have to go, okay, there's a little egg on my face, and that's all right. For me, the trickiest thing was making her real. You know, she had to have a truth You know, if I'd approached her and she was just this, you know, blithe kind of spirit kind of thing, I didn't want her to, I wanted her to have truth to her. And so I think trying to approach it like that, and then her transition, which is into becoming sort of more real, that's more what I paid attention to than sort of getting the Disney thing down, because I felt like that was something that I understood.
Well, it's funny how people are so into the idea that it's Disney parodying Disney, but to me, it's really it's a story. It has its own kind of life. And
Yeah.
for me, I mean, I guess I'm not as obsessed with the princesses as their marketing department is, but you know, to me, it's just a great story.
Yeah,
you know, it's a very smart piece of work.
That's how I approached it. I never approached it as, you know, a Disney princess tale. I just never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I mean, I didn't know that they were going to make her a Disney princess. When we started, that wasn't something that was even on my mind. You know, had it not turned out well,
Right.
and if people not responded, who knows?
Yeah.
So it wasn't really even on my mind.
I didn't even know
sort
that
of
they
like-
had like princesses separate. I guess they're doing a series of movies or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't know there was like a whole thing about
Yeah.
the Disney princess.
It's like the princess line, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's funny because people think that's how it always was. So people are like, so were you obsessed with princesses? And I'm like, well, it wasn't. We didn't have the Disney store when I was growing up. So, you know,
That's true.
we were just getting VHS. So, you know, it was a really big thing when you got to see those movies. It was huge.
Yeah.
And they stuck with you, not in a sort of, you know, parasitic way, but in a very true, like you had to remember what you were watching because there was no way to take it home with you. And now we have such access and we're able to take it home. But I think that movies used to stick with you more. You had to, there was such an occasion, you know.
It's kind of a mixed bag having all this
Yeah, it
access to
is.
everything all the time.
It's good, but it also, I think it makes us hungrier, you know. Our appetite is so huge. Whereas I think even you know, when I was growing up, which wasn't that long ago, but it was just very different. And those, you know, coming around the TV to watch The Wonderful World of Disney, that was huge. That was so special. That was such an event.
I'm not sure we even digest quite as deeply as we did back then because
We don't have time.
Yeah.
We're on to the next thing.
And we don't have to because,
Yeah.
like you say, we have it as much as we want it whenever we want
Instant
it.
gratification.
It's a very different sensation.
It's very different.
Yeah. 'Cause-
So my approach to this was very much thinking about those nights, the Wonderful World of Disney nights, and that the specialness that those brought to my life, and the special, like Julie Andrews, how special she was to me growing up.
Did you watch? Were you a Cinderella girl? Where's
I
that life
was
here?
a Cinderella
with Linda
girl.
and Leslie Ann Warren.
No, I didn't
Leslie
see
Ann-
that one.
There's a Leslie
No,
Ann
I
Warren
was into
Cinderella.
Once things started coming out, I was definitely always buying the.
Well, every year on CBS, it had been shot for television in like '68 or something like that.
I need to see
And every
that.
year they would run it, and it was actually more Disney people. Pat Carroll
Yeah.
was the evil stepsister. That's how young she was back then. She ended up being Ursula in Little Mermaid.
Yes.
It was somebody amazing as the fairy godmother, but it was Julie Andrews as Cinderella and Stuart. Forgetting his name, but it was like one of the guys who's been on soap operas forever.
Oh, that's
Kind
fantastic.
of dark, but whatever.
I can't believe I haven't seen that. I
Yeah.
have to see that.
And Jim Sicking. No, it was Jim Sicking. I think was the prince who was in Hell Street Blues.
Interesting. Oh, that's
And so it was like all these people who went on to other things, and it was like a very theater kind of thing because it was Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Yeah.
And My Own Little Corner, My Own Little Chair. Remember that song?
No.
Oh, it's just great. Oh,
I have
see?
to tell you, I'm completely.
We got to get you into this princess thing.
I know.
If I'm into the princess thing,
I was rowdy when I was a kid, you know? I loved playing princess and make-believe in my own time, but I wouldn't do that in front of my brothers and sisters.
you had six
They would've
siblings,
beat
seven
me
siblings?
up.
How many siblings do you have?
I'm one of six. I mean, I'm one of
One of
seven. I
seven.
have 6 siblings.
So
yeah.
are you a baby in the family or in the middle?
Middle.
Middle.
But don't give me that look. Everybody gives me
I
that
don't
look.
know.
No, everybody gives me that look about the middle child thing. And I really feel that when you come from a large family, larger than 3, if you're not first and you're not last, you're middle. So I had a lot of company. So the whole I need attention, look at me thing.
Well, actresses usually at the beginning or the end or something. I don't know. All the middle kids who end up being actresses.
Yeah, I'd have to. That'd be a fun little survey.
I think it's the baby who gets too much attention and becomes an actor. Or maybe they become a producer.
Well,
I don't
now-
know, a studio executive.
Now, I think there's this whole thing in culture about the look at me syndrome, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I could get all. I don't know. Of course, I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's just my own theories that I in my downtime.